Okay, good evening, everybody. I just have a couple reminders. I am hoping that Rich joins us soon because he was a big part of the call tonight. But I have a few things I want to share with you beforehand. I just wanted to remind you that Sean and Michelle Poe have a Facebook group page called Vitality Hustle. It used to be Holiday Hustle. But first of all, too, I want everybody to just give a big wave and welcome to Kevin. He is a new distributor on our team. Everybody welcome him to this first team Zoom. Awesome. And now it's called Vitality Hustle. And on the Vitality Hustle page, Sean and Michelle are going to run promotions that they have. And the current promotion right now goes to the end of August. And that is for anyone that signs 5 Vitality stacks this month, they will get a free package of Axios sent to them. So that's something you want to be sure that you're keeping track of. So that could be a new customer, or it could be an upgrade as well. Maybe someone's just taking the dual synergizer or just Protandim and they upgrade to the Vitality stack. That counts as well. The other thing is Ireland. Again, making sure you know where that tracker is on Team Act. If you go to Team Act, there's a topics section at the top. And in that topics section, I have one labeled promotions. And under promotions, I will always have what is happening currently through the company that you can qualify for. That includes the incentive trips. So that is where you will find the Ireland tracker right now. And then I think that's it for what's going on. So every Monday, Sean and Michelle have what's called a mastermind Zoom for their Pro 5s and up. And Pro 5 Mark Johnson ran it this morning. And I'm going to try my hardest to see if I can have him as a guest next Monday. But he shared with us some statistics that he got from Gabe Pearson talking about the power of personal volume. And when it comes to personal volume, we all know that includes our orders as well as the orders of our customers. And I think sometimes, especially when we talk about incentive trips, it can be very easy to get caught up in, I need team members, I need business builders, right? And I know sometimes that mentality can put us in a place of frustration, a place of desperation. And then sometimes because we're in that place, we're not fully present when we're talking to people because we're thinking too much about the outcome and too much about what we think we need. And Mark talked about one of the gentlemen he met at the Pro 5 Summit from the Netherlands, I believe. He went Pro 7 in a very short amount of time, like weeks. He went Pro 7. And the Pro 5 Summit was his first event for LifeVantage. And Mark was asking him, what do you plan to do by the global convention? And he said to Mark, he goes, that's not the way I work. He said, I work with the intention of just sharing and listening to people and staying consistent. And if I do the activities consistently, then I know the results will take place. And then Mark even said to him again, he goes, okay, that's great, but where do you think you'll be in global convention? And he's like, he goes, really? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I'll be where I'm supposed to be as long as I stay consistent and put in the activity. He said the results will follow. And I thought, what a refreshing view, right? Sometimes we can get so caught up in the goal and what we want that we hold on to that without breaking down the activity that's necessary to actually even get there. So we're so caught up in the dream of it that we don't do the activities necessary. And I love that mentality of just consistent activity will lead you to what you're supposed to, the results that you're supposed to get, right? And knowing too, I saw this amazing quote by Craig Rochelle, and it said, what did it say? Something about a delay from God is not denial. And so sometimes those results take a while, right? It means there's a lot of growth that we have to go through. So speaking of that, last week you got to hear from Erwin McManus, one of the speakers I heard at the Global Leadership Summit. And for those of you that were on, I know that it really affected you. And I started his book last week called The Last Arrow. And I just wanted to read to you a couple excerpts from it. And one of them said this. He said, we will find ourselves defined by the average if we do not choose to defy the odds. Odds are that you and I will fall at the average. That's why it's called the average. It's where most of us live. To be above average demands a choice. It requires that we defy the odds. You have no control over whether you have been endowed with above average talent or intelligence or physical attributes. What you can control is whether you choose to live your life defined and determined by the status quo. Even when the law of averages work against you, you can still define the odds. And then he also says, I wonder how many victories are lost because the battle has even begun. I wonder how much more good God desires to usher into the world that has been thwarted by our own lack of ambition. I wonder how many times in my own life I thought I failed, but actually the only thing that happened was that I quit. And it kind of goes into what I wanted Rich to talk about too. Rich had gone to some John Maxwell training in Florida, and he was texting me from it, and he was like freaking out because he said he just had this huge shift in his way of thinking. And I wanted to kind of set that tone by, when I talked about Mark Johnson and the customers, when we get customers, we have to listen to people, right? I mean, I think that is the intention here, is just really not thinking about the perfect script, not thinking about the perfect thing to say. I had someone even text me today and say, someone saw one of my posts and commented on it and said they're looking for pain relief. What should I send to them? And I said, well, ask more about what they're going through first. Like, get to know where their pain comes from. How long have they been dealing with it? What are the other things that they've tried? Because when you really know the story behind it, I think the rest of it just comes naturally. All of us on here know what we need to know. We know how to find the ABC report. We know that these products are changing lives. And when we ask the right questions and really just get to the heart of their problem, then I think we feel more comfortable coming from our heart. And I think that's why I always focus so much on this personal development stuff, because I want you to be comfortable with who you are, because then I don't think you'll second guess what you should be saying. When you know who you are and you know that you're coming from your heart and you know that your intention is to just give them a solution and help them, you're not going to second guess it. You're going to be comfortable with what you decide to share with them. But it does come with consistent action as well. I found in my journey too that when I question things and when I wonder if I'm on the right track and when I'm not enjoying it, I haven't had a lot of activity going on, and that's on me. And just this last weekend at our Super Saturday, they had the Pro 7s coming in front of the room. My question was, tell everyone in the room, is it worth it? And I was like, I didn't expect that question. And I said, yes, it's completely worth it. And in those moments where maybe I've questioned if it is or not, the thing that always brings me back is when I do something like this, or when I do a third-party call, or when I do a Zoom presentation, or when I get to hear somebody's pain in their life and I know I have an answer. It's always the activity behind why we said yes that will bring you back to that moment of, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to do. But that consistent action is necessary so that we don't miss out on the gifts that God has for us. I'm so caught up in that lately. Like, I don't want to miss anything. I want to know that every plan He has for me, like, I'm not going to miss it. Don't you guys too? We have to have that mentality every single day, that when we walk out of our house, our vision is not tunnel, that it is open. Our ears are open, that we see and we hear exactly what we're supposed to see and hear in that day. And so to set up Rich, which hopefully he'll come on soon, otherwise maybe Sarah will have some takeaways for him. But some of you know, and I know some of you don't know, but my husband was involved in an accident in November of last year. And we've been going through trials ever since then. It was a complete accident. We've been going through court stuff, all this stuff, right? It's been a really trying time. And for me, I've been able to step outside of it many times and look at the big picture of it. and be really grateful for this season. And the reason is, some of the reasons are, I think sometimes people in our life, we don't, I could say probably my husband has hit rock bottom through this season. Like, he has been broken open and broken down to the core. And through it, he has learned a lot of lessons have come his way. Sometimes I try to gently present those. Sometimes they come from other people. And what I've watched him do is, I had this mentality that through this entire season, I'm going to be able to teach my husband so much and lift him up and be there for him. And just this last week, I realized he is teaching me, like teaching me so much, because the lessons that he's learning, and every Sunday I see him fully open to the sermon, because he's so open to hearing what is said and then taking it. And I get to witness him applying it to his life, everything that he's learning. And through this too, through this next season we're in, through this trial, we have requested letters from friends to speak to the character of my husband, to help in this case. And so those letters have started coming in. And those letters speak to who Kyle is, the kind of father he is, how long people have known him, things like that. And I told him, I'm like, what an amazing thing that you get to witness before you leave this earth, just how much of an impact you've made in people's lives. And I know he did not think of it before this. I know it did not enter his mind. And I know for so many of us, it's so easy to go through life with the I mentality instead of the we mentality. But I'm telling you, we have to think of the we mentality. And we have to remember that if people affect you in a positive way, or somebody makes an impact in your life, don't wait until they request a letter. Like, tell them in the moment. If somebody looks beautiful, but you're feeling ugly that day, tell them they look beautiful, because the minute you give that compliment, you will receive something so beautiful back, and it will lift you up. And that was a lesson I got, is we've never arrived with our knowledge. We must always be open to continually learning. You don't know what you don't know. Whether that means going to a Super Saturday again, even if you think you're going to hear the same thing that you've heard a million times, you have to go. You're always going to get something new from it. And if you're bored from it, then that means you should be bringing new people. Because the we mentality means that those new people, they need to know what you're being bored of. Because for them, it's going to be something brand new that is going to bless their life in such a huge way, and you could transform it. And then, like I said, just making sure that you listen to that inner voice. When somebody affects you in a positive way, tell them in that moment how they've affected you, what they've done for your life, everything. Just don't hold it back. I think that's such an important thing. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, and just being open. And then I was able to share with him too, about Erwin McManus, the speaker last week, talking about standing in his pain, and then realizing if he could walk in that pain, that he could face anything ahead. And I shared that at church on Sunday with my small group. And I said, we just have to understand that when we hit rock bottom, or our story that has affected us, I know some of you on the Zoom have a really trying story that you are overcoming. We have to understand that that story sometimes is exactly what God wants to equip us with, so that we can use it as a tool to affect the lives of other people. So your story is one of the most important assets that you hold, you guys, and you have to be willing to share that with other people, because that's what's going to transform the lives of others. So just having that we mentality and getting away from the I, and always making yourself available. Like, be that person that people always think they're always available. They're always available to help and give and do whatever they can to others. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And then I was going to say, now I'm going to have Rich share, but I'm going to give it to Sarah for a minute and see. I know that
I heard a door. He might be here.
Oh, well, good. But he got to go to some John Maxwell training in Florida, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that for?
John Maxwell coaching. So now he's certified to be able to go talk, lead, I know it was huge and life-changing for him. And it's funny because the two journeys that we've been on these past 2 weeks, I think both of them have come back to a couple of things. And the point of being vulnerable and community. And that's huge with, with everything. And if you're not vulnerable, you're not going to be able to create that real community. And if you're looking at LifeVantage, it's it's a community. You're not just trying to sell products. You want to help people. So being vulnerable and that you're not selling, it's your story or his story through you. And sharing that, and people connect with that a lot more. When you are vulnerable, they will be vulnerable, and that creates community organically.
I agree completely. So many people, I think, are afraid of, Katie and I were talking about this too, they're afraid initially, sometimes when we share our story and we get raw and we're vulnerable, there may be emotion that comes with it. And so it's just that emotion itself that can hold people back from truly sharing what they want to share. But it's that emotion that is the doorway to opening up other people. Because I don't think people share it enough anymore. People are too caught up in their phone or just hiding. Like they're afraid to share because they see perfect lives on social media. And what are people going to think of me if I do this? And yet most of the population needs to know and see that raw emotion, see that vulnerability. I know, again, like for Kyle, it's been huge for him to share that. I've seen him cry more in the last year than I ever have in his entire life. And I love it. I know it's not easy on him, but it's just, I just know what it's doing in his life and like the growth that he's allowing to happen. Instead of just pushing all the emotion down, he's allowing it to come out. And I just know his story will be used in such a big way. So, and then what has Rich shared with you since he's been home from that John Maxwell conference?
There's been a lot of stuff going on. So I know it's a little bits here and there, but he needs to be on here, and I don't know where he is.
I know, a little stinker. He didn't even let me know.
I know. I
would have been more prepared.
I know, exactly. I know something else that we have been talking about a lot, and I think Super Saturday, I talked about it for our group, but having more than a why, but a vision, mission, and core values. So having a vision, which keeps you going, and the how will come about if you stay with the vision that God is giving you. So we've been talking about that a lot, because sometimes we get bogged down in the house and we forget the vision of it. But if we're staying under the banner of the vision, the house will come about.
Yeah.
Sometimes we want to see that big plan, but then we get so caught up in it that, like you said before, we forget the first part. And I hear banging down there, so I don't know. Let me go check.
Yeah, you go check and tell him to hurry up. But I was going to say, that's something that Kirk Duncan talks about to you guys when it comes to vision boards and having vision in your life. Is it can't be, a vision board can't just be a craft project that you hang up and makes you feel good because you did it. A vision board is something, Kirk Duncan has really tested this time and time again, and he has a booklet of all the things in his life and the visions that have come to fruition. And what he does is when he makes a vision board, it's no more than 9 things on that board. And he tries to incorporate himself or a picture of himself into everything that he shows on the board. And every day it's something he looks at for at least 4 minutes, because he wants to create that story with the image so that it becomes, he starts to feel it. He starts to understand what it will feel like when he gets it into his life. And then because he's created that story, when he's out, when he leaves the house, he is more open to hearing those things that could possibly lead to helping him get closer to that vision, because he's so connected to it. He's walking almost as if it's already happened. That's how connected he is. So I see Rich is with us. Oh, Rich. So you guys, I had asked Rich, he sent me some phenomenal texts, and I was about to share those, Rich, but I won't. But he was fortunate enough to go to Florida for John Maxwell leadership training. And his texts when he was there were amazing. And I've been eager to have him share some of the takeaways. But most importantly, the shift in mindset that he had while he was there. So Rich, I would love for you to share that with everybody.
I must live in Idaho in my mind still.
He was downstairs eating.
You're off on a time?
Yes, I'm an idiot. I apologize, everybody. Hey, how is everybody doing? I literally have probably 40 pages of notes. And I did tons of Facebook Live. I did a few Facebook Lives and stuff, but I will definitely isolate it down to just some of the things that I was sharing with Tanya. I don't know if you guys are anything like me, but sometimes you get so laser focused on what you want to accomplish. And you're focused on a goal. You want to get to a rank, or you want to get to get this many distributors or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with being focused like that. But I think if you lose, let's just put it this way. Marcel Niederhauser talked a lot about focus on the behaviors and not necessarily the results. And if any of you know me a little bit, I tend to be a little bit laser focused. In fact, my personality type is I'm so focused that I literally will step on people to get where I want to go. And it's never, I don't think I consciously think, look out, I'm going to step on you to get where I want to go. I think I'm so laser focused on thinking that's the way to do it, that you have to put all out massive action on getting to this goal that that I just totally forget about people. And so one of the great epiphanies that I had there, which some of you may not be a big epiphany for you, but what it was for me is John Maxwell talked a lot about how stories are way more important than what you're actually communicating. So the fact that we have an amazing company, amazing products, breakthrough Nerf 2 technology, honestly is secondary to who you are as a person. And that was an epiphany to me that John Maxwell usually tells about 3 stories for every 1 point he's trying to make. And I'm actually kind of scrambling to get my notes here. So for example, one of the people that came up on stage is a woman. If you don't know who she is, look her up. Her name is Bonnie St. John. She's the first black female downhill skier to win a medal. She has one leg. And she was an amazing person. She talks about don't settle for average, aim higher than that. And she was confronted by someone one time that said, I have 4 gold medals, okay? I should demand more revenue when I speak than you should. I mean, I've accomplished so much more. And I don't know if they were being condescending or they were just being as a matter of fact, this is what I've done. How in the world can you demand so much revenue when you speak? And she said it was basically simple, as she said, she speaks to serve, not to get attention. Let me say that again. Speak to serve your people, not just to get attention. I thought that was powerful because I love to do public speaking. I love to get points across and stuff like that. And so what a pivotal point for me was when you're speaking to somebody, whether it's an invitation to check this opportunity out, or you're teaching your team something, are you speaking just to get the points out, or are you speaking to serve those people? And does your information serve them in a way that they can tangibly grab a hold of that and move forward? And more importantly, know that you actually care about them. I thought that was huge. She also went on to say to remind people that they are heroes, that you can be the hero for somebody that is struggling with an illness, or, well, we don't treat illness, but you know what I mean. So somebody that's struggling with something that relates to oxidative stress, you could be the hero for that person. One of the things that we say all the time is that nobody posts on Facebook that they can't buy diapers for their kids, but I bet you it's happening all the time. You could be the hero for that person. She went on to say speakers shouldn't try to impress people with their resume, because this actually accomplishes nothing. Strive to connect with people. She likes to think like she's in the kitchen. And if people came over to her house, I know Tanya's really good at this. When we ever used to drop by her place, she was ready to, serve us. What do you want? The kitchen's yours. Do whatever you want. And she says the same thing. When you sit down with somebody, think of yourself as they're in your house. How can I serve you? What do I have in my cupboard that will appease them and satisfy them? What are they hungry for? I thought that was really, really powerful. You guys, I'm actually going to probably condense some of this down and maybe make a few posts and stuff like that. I still feel bad because there was so much I wanted to kind of practice before I got in here. I think I sent you a couple of messages that I said that I had an epiphany. And really, I say that we always heard the quote, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything that you want, right? We've heard that. Kevin and I actually talked about that today. You guys don't know Kevin? Wave, Kevin. Mm-hmm. Kevin's going to have a meeting, his first meeting at his house on Wednesday. And he's got some big fish he's looking to hook in a good way. People that he has relationships with, a chiropractor and some other people. So, but we talk about that all the time. If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything that you want. One thing that Chris Simpson said, Chris Simpson is one of the speakers, he talked about listening. And some of this is so elementary. I remember, Tanya, when you first signed me up, do you remember giving me I think it was a DVD or CDs about listening?
Yes. Yes.
All these years later, do we really listen? No. I mean, Kevin and I were working on how does he invite people? Or what about me? I don't have a story yet. Like I haven't been on the products long enough, or maybe I've been on the products and I didn't feel anything yet. I love what Tanya always says. She says, I didn't need to feel anything because I knew the science. And that's her story. She knew that the science was real. She had her own personal story about her husband and stuff like that. So one of the things they talked about is instead of trying to lead people with words, listen to what they're saying. How can I serve this person? And I think that was really the epiphany for me because let's be honest, I thought for now, how many of you guys in here, no matter if you've been in the company for 6 months or less or longer, I mean, is your business growing as fast as you would like it to? I see a lot of shaking heads, right? Right? So I totally get that. But I think if we get caught in how can I serve someone today, as a believer, I believe that, we can't do anything about yesterday. Many of us wish we could change a few things about yesterday. And I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I do have today in front of me. And if you put that person that that's in your path and think, how can I serve that person? That's all you've got. And I think if you do a good job doing that, he will lead you to the people that need what you have. I'm sorry, Tanya. I feel so unprepared. I had tons of stuff. I have tons and tons of pages of stuff. I'm literally scrambling trying to get my head around it because I thought I had at least 20 more minutes.
Tell them about your epiphany. Like you texting me and going, Tanya, like freaking out. You just said I just had the biggest paradigm shift.
Well, the paradigm shift for me is I'm in September, I'll celebrate my 5th year in LifeVantage. And I'm frustrated. I was really super frustrated at the John Maxwell leadership thing. And I had an epiphany. The epiphany really was that I was really selfish because all I could think about is when am I going to get to the next ring? When is this going to happen? And what I realized was I actually hamstrung myself, right? Because I said the right things, but I don't think it was really in my heart where it needed to be. And Jim Rohn says, success is not something you pursue. it's something you attract by becoming an attractive person. That's what really I had to do. I really had a gut check at John Maxwell. And the epiphany is that I feel like I created my own fence that kept me from getting where I wanted to go. For example, people had told me, and this is one of the things, people told me, when you share your story, you're more relatable. But I was so focused on, the bullet points, and here's what you need to do, and here's what you need to do this, and this, and then you'll get to where you want to go. And I never realized, it was literally like a blinder. I never realized that is what's keeping me from moving forward, because I'm not listening. I wasn't listening enough and helping people and helping them to know that they were heard. And I didn't even realize it. It was like, you could have told me it and I would have been like, yeah, I know I need to do that. But I didn't really get it. And so that was the epiphany that I really got. And so, like, for example, Kevin, or Sheila and Liddell, all of you on here, you all have dreams and goals, and I want to see you get what you want. I really do. For the first time, I know it sounds sad because, like, okay, well then when you told me that before, did you really mean it? I think I did, but I don't think it was near as much as where I'm at today. Why are you smiling? Tanya, why are you smiling at me?
I just think it's really beautiful. I just think you weren't even on, and that's kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the call too, was I told everybody, like, the reason I focus so much on like the personal development part of this and not so much the techniques is because when we can be comfortable with who we are and the confidence and the power we hold in listening to people, then I think the rest of it just flows, because it's simple. It's showing that video and leading them the right way to the right people, or the right Facebook page, whatever it is. But that initial speaking to them, you're going to know what to say when you listen enough to their pain and what they're going through.
Yeah. So, like, if you're struggling with, okay, what is my, I don't really know my why, I don't really have a why. I said this to Kevin today. Kevin and I, we talked a lot today, but if you're thinking about what should I say to this person to get them to see it, that's a clear indication that you're selfish. You really are selfish, because all you're thinking about, how can I get this person to see it? And it just goes to show that you haven't asked enough questions, because people will tell you what their heart's desire is if we would use these more than we use this. And I'm really bad at it. And so that's another part of the epiphany, is really just listen to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Well, Rich, if you think of more like that, I'm sorry it went down this way tonight. I'm so sorry.
Nobody's fault but my own. I own it. Right now, I own it.
But you always bring so much value. So if there's more that comes to you that you really, really want to share, over the next few weeks, like, just please tell me, and I'll just always make room for it. So, sound good?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So guys, I'm going to stop the recording now. And like I said, every